Okay, so I wanted to make a video just showing what to expect with Star Citizen as of 2.6. So as you can see, we're in the Port Olisar spaceport, and we're just going to go down and get our ship out. So down the stairs we go. Pretty much anywhere you spawn, you'll be able to figure it out based on what you're seeing here. There are 4 different wings to Port Olisar, but they'll all kind of lead the same way. So knowing exactly which wing you're in really isn't relevant. Here we are just pulling our ship. So when you select your ship, it'll tell you on the display which deck to go to, and as you can see, I'm just following the overhead signs, and we're going out to landing pad 10. This is a very important little spot. This is your locker. What the locker does for you is it stores your different suits. So you have your casuals for walking around spaceports, or I don't know why you would really want casuals. And you can also pull your spacesuit, which obviously you need before you go through this airlock. This functions as how you would expect an airlock to. So we're gonna just wait for it to depressurize, and now out we go onto the actual flight deck itself. And here is the first ship I've purchased, which is the Constellation Andromeda. I'm kind of a huge fan of this ship just because it's billed as a multi-platform ship. So it has lots of combat ability. It also has freight ability, and yeah, it's kind of a well-rounded ship. It's got 4 main cannons. This is the underbelly cannon we're looking at now. There's also a roof turret that functions the same as the underbelly turret, and which are both gimbaled. This is the other side of the ship, obviously, and we're just looking at the missile pods. These are, you can see from here, the 2 cannons on this side. And as we go to the back of the ship, you'll see one of the coolest things about this. This is a snub-nose fighter, or a short-range fighter, that is actually attached to the Constellation Andromeda. So you could actually put a pilot in that and help defend or scout what you're doing anyway. So now we're just going to go into the ship itself through the awesome elevator, and we'll just show you the flight deck and the rest of the ship itself. So this is the cabin area. It's kind of set up as a crew quarters. There's a table and a little couch that'll pop up here. They don't really serve any purpose. These are the bunk beds, so they're sleeping for 4. I couldn't tell you what the purpose is of sleeping in the game yet. We have more lockers to change in and out of flight suits or casuals. Not that I would ever want to change into casuals while you're in a ship, just in case you blow an airlock. Yeah, this is the flight deck. So this is where you'd access your 2 turrets. So this is the upper turret. Just see what the awesome little animation does. So here we go, we're just going up to the top turret. These turrets are no jokes. They're actually the same ones that you would find on one of the higher class fighters in the game right now, the F7C, I believe. So as you can see, it's gimbal mounted. It swivels independently of what the pilot is doing, and it's a very formidable weapon for defending your ship. So we'll go back down to the flight deck itself, and we'll just pop into the bottom turret too, which functions the same. One thing I noticed with the bottom turret though is it has a little bit more of restricted motion, just in the sense that like you're kind of looking through your legs, so the sightline isn't as good. It would almost be better if it was like upside down or something, but yeah, it seems kind of like very World War II-y. So you can see the restriction in the actual line of sight. So we'll pop back up to the flight deck and we'll show the engineering and pilot controls. This ship is crew slotted for 5, so you have a pilot, 2 flight engineers, and the 2 gunners that we just showed you. So this is kind of what you would see from the flight deck itself. This is the first co-pilot seat. So pop in. We'll just show you kind of the role that the engineer will play. Now again, because this game is in alpha right now, it's kind of not optimized for multi-crew as of 2.6. So your engineer would basically be adjusting, this is the power control, so that slider is sliding where you want the power generator to force power to. This is your weapon screen, so this just shows data as far as power consumption, heat levels, things like that. Missiles, we have no readings. So this screen here is where your shields are pointing. So you can adjust based on where you're taking impact and apply your rate of generation, or rate of regeneration I should say, to whichever area you're getting hit hardest. Again, this isn't optimized completely yet, so that screen serves no purpose. We'll pop out of here. And we'll go to the second engineer slot, which I believe functions the exact same, but it would be helpful to split duties. And by that I mean you could have your first engineer throwing power generation to different areas, such as switching it from avionics to weapons to shields, and you could have your second engineer placing the power to whichever shield is actually getting hit, whether you're getting hit on the top, front, back, belly, or either side, whichever spot you need to force regeneration. So now we're going to walk back through the crew deck, and this is kind of the cool area of the ship to me. So this is the actual belly of the beast, as it were. This is the cargo bay, but because this is a multi-platform ship, this area actually has some different functions that I could see, whether it's transporting like a marine squad, or this actually can hold cargo, or in the 3.0 patch they have plans to actually let you load rovers for ground exploration. So you'd be able to drive the rover in here, go down to a planet and drop the cargo door and drive off the platform, or this is where you'd be loading cargo, or as I said, you could also store marines for boarding or troop transport, whichever or whatever you feel like doing. So now I just want to go back here to the back of the ship, and we're going to show you the Snub-Nosed Fighter, which is P-52 Merlin. Now again, this isn't functional as of yet in the alpha. I think again that they're trying to get boarding done for 3.1 as of now. So the ship is actually mounted just to show you that it is there, and it lets you get in the cockpit, but this is about as far as you can go. But yeah, this should be a kind of a cool versatility option. The Snub-Nosed Fighter is pretty formidable. It doesn't have a jump drive though, so to get it from system to system it will have to be docked with the Andromeda. But as far as like in system, it should be pretty good. So now we're just going to show you the flight controls. So we're going to leave Port Olisar. That explosion was just someone jumping quantum drive near us. So here you can see us booting up the flight systems. There's a lot of data and screens here, but it's not as intimidating as it looks. It's all pretty intuitive.
Landing request approved. Landing gear raised.
So we'll just pull up the gear. I just want to go out here and show you what Port Olisar actually looks like as a space station.
User entered
Pretty
your
cool
channel.
setup. You can see here loosely the different, as I said before, there were 4 different flight decks when you're in the actual station, or I think the term in the community is called the arms or spirals. So you have A, B, C, and D spirals. So again, if you're meeting up with people your best bet is to just come out to the actual flight decks and meet them out here. It'll be much easier to find them on the HUD once you're out of the actual station.
Landing
This
request
is the
approved.
docking system,
Engaging
so
autopilot.
you have to actually request to dock at Port Olisar, and all you have to do is put down your gear and drive towards the station itself, and the computer will
Landing gear
tell you
ready.
where it wants you. When you're in the bigger ships like the Andromeda, there's only a few pads that you can actually land on. But let's get out into the system and show you kind of what's going on. So right now we're just going to select a mission. The mission we're going to pick is to fix a broken comm array. As of 2.6, there aren't many actual missions. Obviously, we're still in the alpha stage of the game, so the actual playtime in the progressive universe is a little bit limited. But we're hoping with the next patch that should open up some more options. As in my theory is that once they add cargo, that's when a lot of content is going to be added through the community in terms of piracy or security. So here we're just locking up to a contact, and he's actually dogfighting with a player. That's an AI that I have targeted. We're just going to see if we can get in range in time to help a friendly out. See if we can hit him with the big cannons. These cannons are slow and they are short range, but if they do hit, they're pretty devastating. They're not really to be ignored by the smaller fighters. You'll chew through a smaller fighter pretty quick, but as you just saw, the friendly here made quick work of that pirate. So we're just going to go into the station, and it looks like someone's actually cleaned up the mission, but I'll show you the comm array itself anyway. So if you're doing the mission, oh, this is the guy who actually completed it. So if you're doing the missions, what you would want to do is just pull up here near the entrance, and you would park, and you would actually get out of your ship, and you would EVA out of your ship down to the comm array itself. And there's a little panel that'll be waypointed that you have to turn on. So we're just going to drop down through the elevator shaft here, and it gets a little buggy when you're coming out of it in space, just because like as soon as the elevator starts to drop, you lose gravity, obviously, because you've broken the airlock.
User left your channel.
Still needs work. Again, alpha. So this is what you would do if you were on the mission. You would actually just go to the station and just pop through one of the vents. That's the vent there with the pipes coming out of it. But yeah, so someone's already cleaned up this mission, so we're just going to go back to our big fucking awesome looking ship here and get out of here. Again, I just wanted to kind of show what you can expect in Star Citizen so far and where I'm at with the game. Yeah, so far it's kind of fun, but I mean, there's not really enough content to make the game playable at this moment for very long periods. Like, you can kind of pop in and out, do missions and stuff, but as far as playtime, it gets pretty repetitive pretty quick. So here we are back on the flight deck. We're just going to pop in the pilot seat and get out of here. So just get this booted back up and see
System check.
if we can find our way back to Port Olisar. And I'll just show you the landing sequence and docking sequence. Just for anyone who's thinking playing, as it is handy to know how to land. I had a hard time finding out how to actually do it the first time, especially with a bigger ship. One thing with this game, there's no real tutorial or anything. A lot of the stuff I learned how to do, you have to kind of watch different videos or read different articles. I'll just show you for anyone joining. It's the station we're jumping to now is the repair and refuel point. So if you are out on missions and you get banged up, you can come to one of these stations to repair and refuel. The Cryastro stations work the same as Port Olisar, where you have to fly up to the pad, which I'll shoot up here, and that'll be your landing points. But as you approach, you would just press N to lower your landing gear, and it'll walk you through the landing sequence, and then the menu will prompt once you're landed. So now we'll just head back to Port Olisar. You can always find it by looking for the planet. It's kind of an easy marker instead of just searching for the actual jump points. So yeah, here we go. One thing that's kind of cool about the PU, or the Progressive Universe, that they're doing, there's no load points, so at no point will you ever see a load screen. And I think a way that they kind of do that is when you select a system and you go to jump, they kind of load it as the animation counts down and actually jumps you in, which is kind of a sneaky way to avoid a load screen, but makes it smooth nonetheless. And your crew actually jumps with you, even if you have someone, like let's say you have someone sitting in the cargo hold, they won't even know that they're jumping to a new system unless they're actually like standing behind you looking and see the jump animation. But it's pretty smooth and seamless for anyone just even standing in the ship. Pretty cool feature. So here we are, we just dropped the gear, and once that pad goes green on your little radar, you just press N again and it'll bring you down. It does everything for you, and then it'll tell you when you're actually landed. Alright, so that's kind of where Star Citizen is right now. In the alpha, hopefully I'll upload some more videos as we progress, but that's kind of where we are with the game as of 2.6. Later.